Welcome to this episode of How to Crush No Limit Hold'em games in United States Casino. I'm Jun. Today's video is the second episode of my total road to champion record of how I win a win championship in this summer. And if you haven't watched the first episode, please don't forget to watch from this link here. And let's go fishing. Continuing on the last episode, when we're becoming the chip leader on the table, the next two levels we don't have any interesting hands to share, but we still use our chips to bullying tables, and our chips are now increased to 440k, and the next hand points are up to 6,000, 12,000, and I got pocket kings on +1. Originally I tried to do a min raise, but I put in the wrong chips, so it became a limp. And all folds to cutoff player, he shoves all in for around 250k. And other player fold to me, of course I got a snap call, and turns out he's ace-3 suited, so we only need to dodge an ace. Flop comes king 10-3, so it's another comfortable run out, and turn is a 5, river is a 6, so I knock it out and successfully took down this pot, and our chips are now growing to around 700,000. And then it's bubble time, and it didn't last for too long, and it's busted, and we're now all in the money. And there are total 531 players in this tournament, and the total prize pool is around 180,000. And the champion has $33,924. And now there's only 55 players left. And the next hand is under the gun player, shoves all in for 120, around 10 big blinds. I got pocket jacks on the button, and I choose to call. And he has ace deuce of clubs. Flop comes 3, 5, 7, 3 clubs. So I'm almost drawing that, but turn is a jack of diamond. So now I have some hope. And river comes a 5 of diamonds.
Oh wow. Oh my god. Oh my god. Crazy. Jesus. That is so payout 38.
So I successfully win this run out and take down this pot. And then there's a new player coming to the table, and this female player has more chips than me, so I cannot open this wide anymore. And the next hand blinds are up to 10k, 20k, and low jack the deep stack player open raise to 50k. I got pocket kings on hijack because there are a lot of short stack behind, so I think they may shove all in. I decided to trap here and just call. But very sadly all players folded. Flop comes 8, 9 jack rainbow, so it's not a particularly comfortable flop. She bets for 60,000. Here I don't think my pocket kings has any merits to raise here, so I decided to call. And we can see on the wizard, particularly on this board, we don't have much range advantage, so we will call most of the time. And we have more strong hands we can raise here, such as sets, 2 pair, and straight. And turn comes a 10 of diamonds, so it's a pretty bad card. Now it's a 1 card straight board. But the good news is opponent slow down here and check, and of course I snap check back. And interestingly, we can see in the wizard, which suggests us to bluff a lot of hands here, a lot of small pair and middle pairs we can turn into a bluff. And because we can force opponents to fold a lot of hands here, and also opponents definitely will not defend as much as the GTO suggested. So it's definitely a profitable bet on the turn. But we don't need to turn our kings into a bluff in this particular hand. So turn back to this hand. After turn is a check. River comes a very interesting card. It's a 7 of spade. So now their board is a jack high straight, and opponent bets for 70k. A very small bet, looking like a blocking bet. Facing this block bet, I have some bad idea. So my pocket kings on my hand block the nuts on the board, king queen. So I decided to raise here. I raised it to 225k, and very luckily opponent choose to fold. And we can see on the wizard, pocket kings, because of the blockers, it would be one of the raise bluff combo wizard suggests. But for the sizing, he would suggest to push all in but not min raise. And after this hand, my chips are around 1 million. So I'm officially the chip leader on the table. And then the next hand is one of the most crucial hand in this game. All player folds to the small blind deep stack player. She chooses to call. I got king queen on spade on big blind. I raise it to 3 big blinds and she calls. And we're already deep. We have 30 big blinds. And flop comes 2, 3, 6, 2 spades. She check. And here I have 2 high card plus the flush draw. I think my hand's definitely strong enough to bet the flop. And I bet for 60k, she chooses to call. Turn comes a king of diamonds. So now I hit a top pair and she checked to me again. Here I bet for 200k, a large size. Because I think she would have a lot of hands can pay me, such as like 5-6, 6-4, 3-4, this kind of hand. And surprisingly, this aggressive woman player shoves all in.
All in? Oh, alright, turn it up.
And of course I snapped call, and the good news is she shows king 4 of clubs. So she has a gut shot plus top pair, very aggressive move. River comes a jack of hearts. I successfully take it down and I have now 1,700,000. And according to my friends, I'm now the chip leader in this tournament.
Payout!
And then we're switching tables and the blinds are up to 15,000, 30,000. I got king 3 suited on hijack, and I obviously feel that every player on the table are very scared of me. Everyone afraid to play hands against me, and because I'm the chip leader, so I also widen my open range trying to steal more money. And this hand I open raise to 100k. Big blind calls. Flop comes queen 8-6 3 diamonds. He checked to me. Here, although I didn't hit anything, but on this board I can still fold a lot of hands in his range. So I bet for 1 big blind, 30,000, and opponent calls. Turn comes the 3 of diamonds, and he checked again. Here I decided to continue push some pressure and bet for 125k, and he calls again. River comes at 8 and pair the board, and opponent check again. And I decided to go for it and push all in.
I'm all in.
Because I think I can represent the most strong hands in this board, and also opponent may feel a lot of pain because there are a lot of short stacks and he may want to get a pay jump. And after a long deep tank, opponent choose to fold. I show a 3 trying to make the story more convincing, and I think they totally believe it.
Like a 3, right? Yeah, 50%, right? The other card could be or...
It was a 3.
100% 3.
You don't get credit for a bluff.
Why not?
And then we're in the final table, but very sadly my phone is out of battery, so we don't have the live videos in the following next hand, but I'm gonna walk you through it. And in the next 2 level, I don't have pretty much interesting hand, but I consistently bullying the players on the table, so my chips are now from 2 millions grow to 4 millions. Other players on the table have around 1 million chips, but because the gap of the pay jump is really huge, so all players are playing very discreetly. As a chip leader, I play almost every single hand, trying to accumulate as much chips as I can. And this hand is I got queen 10 offsuit on the hijack, and I open raise, big blind calls, flop comes jack deuce 2 spades, and he checked to me. I bet for 1.5 big blind, and surprisingly he checked raise to 5.5 big blinds. And I'm continuing my bullying strategy, so I 3-bet all in, putting him in a very tough decision, and he tanked for a long time. And because there are a lot of short stacks on the table, if he folds this hand, he can easily get a lot of thousands of monies pay jump very easily. That's why I can put him all in with this air card. And surprisingly, at last he chooses to call and shows king 9 of spades. And the good news is I still have some outs, but the turn and river didn't come out and I lose a lot of chips. But the good news is I'm still the chip leader, but this player has just about the same chips level as me. And very interestingly, as I made a video, I found that he's a bracelet winner of the 2021 1500 buy-in freeze-out event chat. And of course he's a bracelet player, so he won't settle down for a couple of $100 pay jump. He's here for the champion, and after this hand I'm still a chip leader, so there's way to go. And then the next hand, one more player is out, so there are only 7 players left on the table. And I open A6 of spade on the hijack, and big blind calls. Big blind again is a bracelet winner chat. And flop comes 10-10-5 rainbow, he checked to me. Here I didn't see bet for this flop because I think a lot of hand in my range I won't bet for 3 streets on the flop, and also my image is really bad on the final table, and I think my ace high still has a lot of showdown value, so I choose to check back. Turn comes a 3 of clubs, and he down bets for around 1 or 2 big blinds, and I think 6 and ace still are my outs, so I decided to call a turn and see what happens in the river. River comes a 3rd 10 on the board, and he bets for half of the pot around that, and I think my ace high calls here is very easily to get thin value. On the other hand, I think there's still some overpairs in my range, so I decided to raise the river to around 4x of his bet, and he chose to fold. So very smoothly we took down this pot. And then the short stack players are out one after one, and there are only 4 people left. But there's still one pretty short player on the table. He has only 3 big blinds left. And this hand is he folded on the cutoff, and I got 9-5 offsuit on the bottom. So of course I can put this into my consideration. So I open raise on this spot, trying to bullying the other 2 players. And big blind calls. Flop comes king jack 3 2 spades. He checked to me, I bet for 1 big blind, and he calls. Turn comes a blank, he checks again. Here I decided to fire another bullet, although I have no equity on this board and I have no spade on my hand. I still want to bet, but he still chooses to call. And river comes a queen of spade. And without the spade, I think I should give up, but he did a very interesting move. He put his hand on his chips. He was pretending to bet, but he finally decided to check. I think this is a pretty obvious live tell, because a lot of people will pretend to strong when they actually want to show down, and so I decided to went all in against him. And very luckily my live read is correct, and he folded his hand. And after that big fold, this player, as he wished, he got the 3rd place because the short stack and him is all out. And now there's only me and Chad are playing against the champion. And I think I still got a huge advantage on my chips. It's around 10 millions and opponent only has like 3 millions. And one interesting hand is I got 4-5 suited on the small blind, and I choose to call, and he checked. Flop comes jack 7-3 2 diamonds, and he checked to me. Here I got a gut shot and backdoor flush. I decided to bet for a small size, and he calls. Turn comes in 9, so I decided to slow down, and when he checked to me, I also checked back because I think the 9 would hit a lot of range in his check call range on the flop. And river comes a queen. After he checked to me, I decided to bluff here because this queen is going to favor my range. I bet a small size makes it look like a value bet, and very successfully he folded his hand. And then the last hand is I got ace-3 offsuit on the small blind, also the button, and he has only around 10 big blinds left, so I decided to push all in, and he snap call. The bad news is he's got ace king suited, so we're dominated, and the flop comes ace deuce 4 rainbow. So it's a good flop for us because we pick up a 5 or 3 more outs on the flop, and turn comes a 5 of spades and river comes a 10 of hearts. So we successfully suck out opponent and get the champion. If we lose this hand, to be honest, if we lose this hand, I think I cannot get a champion because opponent has won a bracelet and he has much more experiences, also the skills than me, so I definitely cannot beat him, I think. And so it's very lucky that Poker God let me win this one, and this is also the biggest suck out of my life. It is a really special feeling of winning a tournament. It's completely different from cash games. So after this game, I decided to play more tournament, and so this channel will have upload more tournament videos in the future. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment of what you thought. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.
That is your chance to be ruthless.